Today we're going to talk about how to solve a multi-step problem, or a problem that has more than one step. So your first step is always going to be to read the whole problem. For breakfast, Bob had cereal that contained 7 grams of sugar. His lunch contained 0 grams of sugar. His dinner contained 8 times as many grams of sugar as his breakfast. How many grams of sugar did he have today? So this is the first question. So I'm going to stop there, and after we solve this one, then we'll read our second question. So step 2 is you need to circle any important quantities or numbers and any important math words that we need to pay attention to. So I'm just going to skim over it again. For breakfast, Bob had cereal that contained 7. There's a number that I need. And then I also need to circle grams because 7 kilograms would be different from 7 grams. It's important to keep the grams with it. His lunch contained 0 grams. That gave us another number of sugar. His dinner contained 8 times as many. So I'm also going to circle 8 times as many because that gave us some important math words that we need to pay attention to. Grams of sugar at his breakfast. How many grams of sugar did he have today? Okay, there was no more math words that I need to circle. So my third step, I need to ask myself, what is it telling me to do? What does it need me to solve? So usually you can find this at the end of your problem. This says, how many grams of sugar did he have today? How many grams of sugar? So my answer is going to include grams of sugar. The other thing I notice is that it says today, but earlier in the problem it never said today. It said breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So this tells me that I'm probably going to have to add those things together in order to find out all of the grams of sugar from all of today. So now that I have those circled and I figured out what I need to find, and that I'm probably going to have to add stuff together, to organize my thoughts, I'm going to write a B for breakfast, an L for lunch, and a D for dinner. And I'm going to solve each of those. For breakfast, Bob had cereal that contained 7 grams of sugar. Okay, no math to do. It just told us exactly what breakfast was. His lunch contained 0 grams of sugar. Okay, cool. That one just told us also 0 grams. His dinner contained 8 times as many grams of sugar as his breakfast. Okay, so this one, I know that I'm going to have to do some math. Let me read it again. His dinner contained 8 times as many grams of sugar as his breakfast. So it's going to be 8 times as many whatever he had for breakfast, and that'll give us dinner. Now I remember from up here, for breakfast he had 7 grams. So that gave me my equation. Off the top of my head, I know that 8 times 7 is 56. So he had 56 grams for dinner. Now friends, if you don't know 56 off the top of your head, you can use one of your strategies. You could break this up to 4 and 4 if you know 4 times 7, or you could do repeated addition, whatever strategy works the best for you. Okay, so now I have the totals of my 3 meals, but what I need is the total of today. So I'm going to go ahead and add these together. So breakfast was 7, lunch was 0, and dinner was 56. And do you notice how I lined up my 1s and then I lined up my 10s? These two don't have 10s, but I put the 5 in the 10s column. If I don't do that, I won't get the right answer. Okay, 7 plus 0 is still 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. And then I'm putting my 3 in the 1s column and my 1 with the 10s because it's a 10 and it goes in the 10s column. 1 plus 5 equals 6. So 63 grams is the total of what he had today for sugar. So that answers my first question. Now let's read the second question. Did Bob eat more or less than a kilogram of sugar today? Explain your reasoning. Okay, more or less tells me that I'm comparing, and I can't really compare things that aren't in the same unit or the same measurement. So my answer down here is in grams, but this says kilogram. So I'm going to convert 1 kilogram into grams, so it's easier for me to compare. 1 kilogram, I know from the relationship that we learned, equals 1,000 grams. So now I see that, and I'm thinking, wow, he had way less than a kilogram. 63 is way less than 1,000. So for my explanation and my reasoning, I'm going to say 63 grams is less than 1,000 grams, and 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram. Therefore, Bob ate less than 1 kilogram. And that's it. That's the answer to both of those questions. 63 grams, and then Bob ate less than 1 kilogram.